begun. The smartphone wars had. That was the camera of a flagship phone. We're talking about Samsung stuff, but we can't talk about that Samsung stuff until we set the ground floor of why that Samsung stuff even existed. 2009, 19th of June, the iPhone 3GS landed, and to me, this is when the smartphone wars began. I mean, the original iPhone came out in 07, then there's the 3G that came afterwards, but it was at this point. The App Store had been out for a year, right? The first iPhone, no App Store. It was just kind of this tech oddity that was neat and you could do stuff with. Most people could just live without it. But the App Store was such a big deal. For the longest time, if you bought a phone, whatever software it had on it, well, you were stuck with it. Like updates? No. But also, the price of entry came crashing down. The 3GS with its supposed double the performance and just such a low starting price for people to get into the ecosystem. Kaboom! I remember being in music college and seeing a mate sitting on a 3GS watching YouTube, and I was just like, how? How are you possibly doing that? It's thanks to iOS that we even have Android. Android was going to be like some sort of BlackBerry bootleg knockoff. iPhone launched, they immediately scrapped all plans and chased this, and it was the smartest thing they did. But it also meant Apple was just so far in the lead. It's fun how it's Apple versus Samsung, whereas to start with, it was Apple versus HTC. They were making the actual competitor, in my opinion. Samsung, they made mid-tier stuff. Like my whole life, this is what I knew them for. Just, oh yeah, and I got a Samsung. I don't know. It was on special at the Telstra store and I just got it. I mean, gosh, nearly every tech category, that was Samsung's place. They beat Apple to the punch in so many things. I mean, they were making tablets before the Newton. No one bought it. Way too early to the party. Samsung were before the iPod. They didn't really do anything special. It was an MP3 player and it worked, but just it's just mixed into the soup of all the other nuggets. And during the dumb phone era, Nokia's in fashion. Oh, well, we just make one of them too. Oh, flip phones are in fashion. Oh, well, we'll make one of them too. Oh, everyone's buying Blackberries and QWERTYs. Oh, we'll make one of them as well. And the trend continued. Oh, touchscreens are all the rage. Oh, we can fight out some of them. Yeah, we make that stuff. But all that changed with the Galaxy. I've already done a video on this cat, but this is the original Samsung Galaxy S. Not S20 billion, it's just the Galaxy S. And this was Samsung just breaching the soil with their zombie hand of the mid soil. Just being like, we're not mid anymore. I mean, look at the size of the screen. It's an OLED screen in 2010. Like a pixel density. This was really good for its day. And it was 163 PPI. This thing? 233. It was such a level up. It's got a selfie cam. Apple didn't have that. Samsung was still, cluing into the original design language that they do, which is just to take what other people are doing and just tweak it enough that they can, get away with it. The single home button, but they added some capacitive touchscreen buttons, to make it their own. But it really is just, a benign slab of plastic. I guess the iPhone was too. And this was a success for Samsung. It really set the stage that they can pull this off. But then, oh no, 2.5 weeks later, the iPhone 4 happened. Apple was already really far ahead, and this just made them go boom. Yes, antenna gate. Even though my first ever iPhone was an iPhone 4, and I never really had that issue. A lot of phones had that issue, depending where you gripped it. But you see that split there? These are the antennas. That's how it got the antenna system. And look, it's really showing its age. I mean, 2010, I can't believe 16 years ago. But this birthed the glass sandwich, a design language we are still utilizing. I mean, this is my phone. I got a Pixel 10 XL running graphene. It's the first Android phone that I've actually oi, this is great. I'm glad I jumped. But what do you see? Oh my goodness, it's a glass sandwich. We've been here. I mean, the camera situ is just hilarious. The iPhone 4's is just adorable. But so many elements draw their lineage back to the iPhone 4. iPod 30-pin. It's a gorgeous design language, and it's really recyclable, and it breaks easily. Like, repair it expensively. These companies love it. Pixel 10 looks amazing, by the way. I mean, it's a honk and hump, but they made it look nice. I mean, they didn't make the screen bigger, and it's not an OLED, but my goodness, the resolution. This was kicking the 3GS with its 233 ppi. The iPhone 4, 326! Honestly, this still looks amazing today. The screen gap is hilarious. The frame rate is, again, hilarious. It's pretty chunky because it's running iOS 7, which was a bit of a stretch for the 4, but this is just so crystal clear. You can see, even though it's not OLED, they upgraded the screen massively. Combined with the App Store and like the rest, like, oh, mate. I mean, yeah, this came out only a couple of weeks after this, but as I said, this was still a success for Samsung. This still absolutely had its place. They still moved like 20 million of these things, but Samsung clearly went, oh no, because they absolutely hustled with the sequel. Samsung had to reach within themselves and go, what can we do? How can we get an edge? What's something Apple will never do? And Steve Jobs never wanted the screen on the iPhone to get bigger, and it was one of his biggest mistakes. I mean, just look at phones now. People absolutely wanted bigger screens on their phones, and so Samsung just let them have it. Just under a year later, the Galaxy S2. Like, under a year. Samsung must have just been pounding it. What a difference. This is when Samsung leveled up. This is when Samsung versus Apple began. I had the iPhone, and my best mate at university when I was at jazz school turned up with this, looked at my iPhone and went, F your iPhone. The screen size is almost the size of the iPhone. That is a humongous difference. That said, lower PPI than the old one. This guy was 233. This guy was 217. They prioritize big over everything else. This is like the final days of Samsung's old design language kind of lingering about. You know, it's just a plastic fantastic thing, really cheap plastic feeling, but my goodness, it was thin and it weighs nothing. Like, this is half the weight of my Pixel 10. 116 grams. Absolute featherweight. But Gorilla Glass, look how well it's aged. This is still holding out. We're starting to get the camera bump. It's beginning. Still positively adorable compared to the honkers we have today. But this was proof that Samsung was top tier and hear the boogie. These days of the smartphone were so exciting. Like, every year, the features coming out were just huge. And there was still competition from the old guard. Like, BlackBerry was still around. Nokia's Symbian was still around. I had an N96 Mini before I got this thing. Horrible phone. Gosh, it was bad. James had one as well. They both broke right out of the box. There's a reason why Nokia went away. You know, and it's at this point people are going to say, like, Samsung invented the large screen phone. Nah, they didn't. I mean, honestly, it was Apple. This is my phone from 2008 when the 3G was kicking about. This was like an expensive phone. And a feature was that it came with a headphone dongle. The headphone jack on phones did not last long. Like, within a decade, it had come and it had gone. This was a crap phone. This was bad. It's all sticky. Yes, slide phones. What a concept. But look at the size of the screen. This was a normal screen size. The iPhone was huge. This was so crap, I dumped it mid-contract and got an E63. I love this thing. But again, look at the size of the screen. I never thought that was a small screen. This was a normal screen. Everyone was rocking iPods. Look at the size of the screen. It was normal. But Samsung saw the writing on the wall. They knew. But it's not just the screen size that made Samsung just come in like whack. This thing is NFC capable. It wasn't until the iPhone 6 that Apple caught up with stuff like that. So the 4, the 4S, the 5, the 5S, and then the 6. USB on the go. You could plug in flash drives and like hard drives and sync with it. It was now a computer. Both of these nuggos have 16 gigs of storage, and gosh, iPhone people will lament just how long 16 gigs being the minimum storage was. It was like pathetic. It was so crappy of Apple. This is 16 gigs too. Didn't matter. Oh gosh, look, now we're getting doughy for the old days. You pop the thinnest back case you've ever smelt. Oh my goodness, a removable battery. Battery life was a real issue with phones of this era because they were trying to do as much as they could and try and be thin. I remember Samsung friends having two batteries. One would be fully charged in their bag and they'd run this one out and swap them. But look at that. Oh my goodness. I've casually just put 32 gigs into this thing. And also it was really easy to get like photos and stuff off of it. This is pre-airdrop. This is pre a lot of stuff. Like, good luck getting photos off of these ancient iPhones. It sucks. This thing, oh, you can just navigate it like a really chunky, poorly running computer and shuffle stuff from the internal storage to the SD card. Genius. There you go. I got 3 times the storage of your very expensive iPhone. This back case. Amazing. I mean, it is made out of junk, but here it is still to this day. I mean, not recyclable in the slightest. This is just going to rot in landfill for like 1,000 years. Google Play Store had really made ground. You know, a lot of the really popular apps were finally available. You know, stuff like Fruit Ninja. You know, having a capacitive glass touchscreen was just so amazing to people. Just being able to like slice across fruit flying past and seeing it accurately cut it, that was just magic to people. You know, talking Tomcat. As a society, we've just longed to talk with a robot, it seems. Angry Birds. Like, my iPhone 4 was my game console. All through uni, I lived out of this thing. Freaking loved Angry Birds. And then they took it off the App Store and they brought it back and they made a movie. Yeah, the downfall of Angry Birds. Words with friends. For so many people, that would have been their first ever interaction with an online gaming experience. You know, Xbox Live goes back like a decade before that. You know, people playing online with like StarCraft in the late 90s, right? But for just everyday people, like Words with Friends on their phone. I wouldn't call one better than the other, but it was like this. It was head to head. Samsung had just gone boom and matched. You know, and talking about just making the screen bigger to just get people's attention. Later this same year, the first Note ever came out. Samsung was like, have it. Have as big as you want. And major success. And then the Note 7 happened. But yeah, Samsung doesn't like to talk about that. But go on. Let's have a scroll of some ancient Android. I mean, the first Android that came out on this was 2.3 Gingerbread. Be fun to see how far this thing got updated. Even though you can technically take it all the way up to Android 13. I believe this is the most Android versions that can be put on a Samsung. And it's people doing it, you know, after the fact, you know, kind of sideloading it on. But I'm not interested in that. I want the old experience. Battery low? Next you're going to tell me you're 15 years old and getting tired. I can't believe this is 15. Drink. This thing's running, TouchWiz 4.0. And it sucks. I don't know. This really dates it heavily. Like, this still basically looks like iOS for the most part. Like the very first like linen days, I believe they'd call it. They lasted a few years, and then went iOS 7, and they've basically remained unchanged until now with liquid glass, or as I like to call it, liquid ass. Because I love how AirDrop doesn't work anymore, and if I want to get the camera going to film stuff for garbage time, it just shows a black screen and doesn't work. Software used to be Apple's strong point. They're fumbling it so hard. But yeah, like, this is still an iPhone for the most part, even like a lot of the design. Yeah, TouchWiz 4. Hello, welcome, and thank you for using Samsung email. Psst. Please make a Samsung email account so you can use it. How can you thank me for using something when I'm not using it? Samsung's strength in this world is creating talking sand and memory chips and hardware. Software is there. I don't like Samsung software. The hardcore always lean and go, no, it wasn't that bad. No, it's just not good though. Like, this UI really doesn't make the most of the OLED screen at all. It just has no vibe to it. I want to hear some ringtones though. Let's get classic. What? So Cole? Ringtone. Let's hear some classic ringtones. What's this, Wii Fit music? Oh, that one's piercing. Ooh, I don't like it. Uh-huh. They all sound the same. Oh. Yeah! We're gonna be young forever! This is school? Oh gosh, it goes back to these days. That's a good one. Who names these? It's some, like, Sega arcade machine sounding music. Those names are dumb. Oh, now that's iconic. Well, that's some chronic nostalgia for people who grew up with these things. You're just freaking out and reaching for your phones and going, oh no, I haven't done my homework yet. Like this, like being able to get into like the root folder and be able to just get into it. Like you couldn't do this with an iPhone. This is when it's like, this is a computer. You have a pocket computer now. There's all these dead apps. You know, I've had it hooked up to the guest Wi-Fi here, and yeah, it doesn't do anything. You can't search up celery or firewood. Does nothing anymore. It's just off the grid, gone. But yeah, welcome to technology that's 15 years old. I can't believe it's been 15 years. Channel 10? Oh, Skype. RIP. Oh, what version of Android is this? 4.0.3. Yeah, go on. Software update. No, let's check. Let's have a look. Yeah. Well, a big thing that was happening with phones at this point was the camera. Going from just something that you had that was just kind of fun to, you know, snap some blurry memories with, but you probably still had like a proper, you know, a real camera, right? This is when it was really leveling up. 8 megapixels, you can take that pretty far. And with the flash, and yeah, like at this point, I really should have some really pretty lady so that, you know, can compare against, how does it fare against modern stuff, right? Of course, it has to be pretty Mrs. Frankie. Uh-oh, she's coming for that phone. Frank, you love phones so much. Stop it. Frank, please. You're ruining the test. You're making it invalid. Like your intelligence levels. I mean, it's pretty insulting to the missus to be using Frankie, but you know, Frank will tolerate just being filmed for 45 minutes and sitting mostly perfectly still. Mostly perfectly still. Oh, God. What a mess. Oh, she be squeezing it. Frank, don't fall down. She will absolutely fall down. Oh, she's doing a sneak attack for the phone. We saw that. Frank, you gotta back up. We can't make out your shiny head. You're hard work, aren't you? Well, let's cut to the full HD video of the Smaznug #2. Oh no, she's going through that thing again. Oh, you can't zoom in while doing HD video. That's right, 1080p was big pants. You're unsqueezing it, Frank. That's very kind of you, but it's so you can just squeeze something else. You're getting stuck in there again. There's still a rat in there, you know, Frank. Are you gonna be able to put... Look at the crush she's doing. She's crushing herself through. She loves doing that, don't you? You gonna go for this phone? Was this phone not interesting enough for you? This was made before you were born. Even though you're 11 years old now. You old lady. You old lady. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's no stabilization with this stuff, which is a real bummer. It's kind of what makes like mobile phone footage look kind of crappy, because it's such a small device. Any little movements, and you get this going on. That's why like big cameras look like big cameras. Uh-oh, have you locked onto the phone? No? Wow, she's not interested in this one. You can see her iridescence though. Look, Frank's a rainbow. You're a rainbow. Maybe 720p will let me use the zoom. Let me cut to that. We're now at 720p, and Frank's doing a very still
This is somehow comfortable for her. Oh, we're in. Oh, look how smooth it is. It's not chunky at all. Matches the chunkin' lady. Hey, Frank, I know we caught you doing a weird there. You just kind of stopped moving in a very uncomfortable looking position. She can sleep on rocks and find it comfortable. She's strange. Yeah, how far can we go in? 4 times. Yeah, at 720p. 4 times at 720p. Let's go back to the IT phone.
Whoa, it's amazing how far phones have come. And look at this smooth zoom. Look at this smooth zoom. It's for like Frank's smooth head. 15 times zoom with a swipe of my thumb. Look at that. And we're in. And we're out. And we're in. Oh, what was that? Whoa. Oh. Okay, she's moving her way through it. Whoa, Frank, we're having a chunk collapse here. See, she's not good. Frank, you're no good. Yeah, not only can you see the iridescence, look at the texture of her scales. Because they're kind of like fingernails if they were really thin and flexible. You know what I mean? Like, look, see? They're like, she's not slimy. She's heckin' smooth. Yeah, look, you don't go backwards. You don't go against the chunky grain. Yeah, but you see, they're really thin. She doesn't care. I'm just, huh? But I'm touching. She's a good dog. She loves hammock time. I want to see how crappy the Samsung can record video ads.
This is 144p. This is like the crappiest quality YouTube video you can get. But you know what? On this little screen, I mean, this is video. I mean, I wouldn't stand for this, but you can make it out. Can we make out her scaly textures? No? You can see a little bit of the iridescence, but yeah, not much. You gonna lick this one? You gonna lick this one, Frank? And we'll zoom out so we can get in close. You gonna lick this one? Look how, like, she does. Oh! Ooh! Yeah? Lick it, Frank! Lick it! Lick! Whoa! Whoa!
The microphone kind of stuttering there. That could just be because old and struggling. Just age. Because they definitely did not do that when they came out. Like 1080p though, it's like, yeah, it's alright. I love how you can't zoom at 1080p. That is too much processing for this phone. And I just love how it offers 144p. This nugget heritage remaining intact. I did go outside though, and I take a couple of photos. You know, here's an area with trees and a park bench near a road. You know, that's nice. And you know, you cut to the S2, and it's like, oh, it actually does photos like pretty good. It's kind of blown out at the top. You know, it was overcast. There was no like crazy sun coming in, but still, it was like, you know, a bit of blown out. If you zoom in on the tree here, on the bark, all the detail and whatnot. I mean, you're not missing that much. I mean, obviously it's less for a 15-year-old phone. And then, yeah, here's my beloved frog. It's sitting in a car park. And, you know, you flick over. Again, it's got the same kind of symptoms with the kind of blowing out up along the top. But then, like, you zoom in on, like, this tiny little badge that's on the car. It's blurrier, but you can still make it out. Like, as a photo, like, look at that resolution. Like, that's amazing. I mean, that's for a photo, not a video, okay? But yeah, I was actually pretty dang impressed. You know, from something just so unassuming. Look at that little bonky lens. And this was just a juggernaut in sales. Samsung just rose up. They were now a contender. And not long later, HTC was just slapped out of existence. And the Samsung v Apple, you know, it's still roaring to this day. Even though, you know, nearly all phones are basically the same now. Phones are phones now. But I love these humble beginnings. But really fun to finally experience one of these after 15-something years. When these are completely worthless, you can get them for like 20 bucks. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, huge thanks to these stinky names right here. They're my $10 floaties. Thank you so much. You're the best. Float plane is out of control now. There's so much stuff. You got to go into notifications and turn off the crap that you don't want. So thank you so much. You know what, mates? I'll TouchWiz yous next time. We'd appreciate this heckin' squeeze going on here. Look at this. Look at this squeeze going on. That's not viciously uncomfortable. There's like a rat in there still. Like, she's done this. That's her favorite thing to do, is get into this hammock and to push herself through these things. It's strange. Yeah, she's incredibly flexible. She's like the world's strongest contortionist gymnast with the brain of a 3-week-old baked potato. Baked potato. Baked potato. Baked potato. Baked potato. Aww, rude.